Now we will present about the group assignment, current technology used by the industry in Malaysia for solid waste treatment. The method we use is composting. So my name is Chan Kai Wen. My group member is Tiong Jing Mei, also Wendy Yenwini. So this assignment is carried out based on the Journal of Composting of Solid Waste from Wet Market of Bandar Baru, Bani, Malaysia. This research is carried out by Saleh Adib Twet, Ragni Abdul Rahman, and also Muhammad Sahad Khalil from the Department of Chemical and Process Engineering, Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment from the UKM Bani Selangor Darul Ihsan, Malaysia. So the current issue is the waste generation in the wet market of Bandar Baru, Bani, Malaysia, and the potential method to manage the waste is composting method. So for the problem identification, approximately daily amount of 8 tons of waste will be produced from the wet market of Bandar Baru, Bani, Malaysia. So the types of waste at wet market including the solid waste from vegetable stores or shops such as green vegetables, boxes, wooden waste from meat such as chicken, fisheries, and also the other waste. And for the liquid waste from restaurants such as food store, used cooking oil, and also cleaning job going to the drains. So this is the solution for the problem. So composting of solid waste from wet market is managed by using bin composter. The bin composter is black in color to absorb the heat. So the material created in the composter was composed of leftover of raw fruit, food, chicken, fish, and also vegetables. Microorganisms such as bacteria and also fungi are responsible for breaking down the organic material in the waste. Through the access door at the bottom of the bin composter, the finished compost can be moved up. So now we will discuss about the definition of municipal solid waste. So the municipal solid waste is non-air and sewage emission created within and disposed of by a municipality, which is local government, including household garbage, commercial refuse, construction, and also demolition debris, dead animals, and abandoned vehicles. The other definition is from the USEPA. Observe that the majority of substances that the municipal solid waste include paper, vegetable matter, plastic, metal, textile, rubber, and also glass. So for the definition of composting, a biological process whereby regular introduction of air by mechanical turning stimulates the aerobic microorganism to reduce organic materials such as manure to a more stable material similar to humus. And then the next one is the composting process entails managing and accelerating the biological and oxygen demanding process as a mixture of organic materials pass through a series of stages that are characterized by increases in temperature and also bacterial types leading to a stable organic material called compost. So the last one, definition of composting is the composting of organic waste is recognized as an effective method to manage the waste type as it aims to recover organic waste in the waste stream and also produce a useful end product. Now I will pass to my group member.
Thank you, Chan Kai Wen. My name is Jing Mei and I will talk about how the composting is done. For the first step, waste is collected from the wet market and then the waste is being selected where the non-composting material, which is inorganic material such as metal, plastic, will be removed. And then the waste will be cut into smaller size as we want to increase the composting rate. And then the waste is mixed well and then we put the waste into bin composter where the composting will be undergo and lastly the compost will be formed. So basically in the composting process, the composting process, as we know, it is a natural process of recycling decomposed organic material into rich soil, which is compost. And organic waste is collected from the wet market, and the inorganic waste is being removed. And then microorganisms from the soil will eat the organic waste and break down them into the smaller, simplest part through the aerobic respiration. water and air will be supplied to the microorganism as they want to reproduce and live. And also, during the aerobic respiration, the microorganism will produce carbon dioxide and heat, and thus the temperature will increase during the composting process. Lastly, finished compost will be formed and we will observe the reduction in the weight of the waste. So, for the phases of the composting, it consists of 3 phases, which is first phase, second phase, and third phase. During the first phase, it is the initial first day and second day. The temperature gradually rise to temperature 40 to 50 degrees Celsius, and at this stage, sugar and other easily biodegradable substances are metabolized. And in the second phases, the temperature will rise between 40 to 65 degrees Celsius. At this phase, cellulose lignin, some of the woody component in the plant tissue will start to destroy, and plant particles with seed also will be killed by the heat generated from the microorganism. And lastly, homogeneous products are produced in this stage. And lastly, at the third stage, the concentration of the material that ready for the decompose already decreased, as mostly organic waste already decomposed at the first phase and the second phase. And decomposition rate and heat output and also temperature will also decrease at the third phases, as during these stages, microorganisms also already didn't undergo their activities. And microflora will colonize the compost, where the microflora is a type of bacteria in the soil where can help in digesting the organic material. And lastly, matured compost will be formed in darker color and have earthly odor. So let's see a video.
A natural fertilizer and soil amendment that's as old as life itself. All organic matter decomposes. Composting speeds up the process by creating improved conditions for the bugs, worms, and microorganisms that break down organic material. This is a compost pile made with yard trimmings and food waste. Time-lapse photography reveals how the volume of material reduces as it is transformed into compost. Over a 1-month period, the pile was turned and water added once a week. You don't have to make conditions perfect. Composting will happen.
So for the video, we observed that the reduction of the weight of the waste. Now I will proceed to the factors that will affect the composting process. There are many factors can affect the composting process, which are size, erosions, porosity, moisture of contents, pH value, and ratio of carbon nitrogens. Microbiological activity will undergo on the surface of the particle of the composting material. So as we cut the material into smaller size, we will enhance the surface area of the composting material, and thus we will increase the composting process. Aerations, quick aeration decomposition will be occur only if we have sufficient amount of oxygen supply. And porosity is referred to the spaces between the particle. If the particle is not saturated with water, there are spaces filled with air which can supply oxygen to the microorganism. And the moisture content also will affect the composting process, where if the moisture content is below than 40%, it will slow down the microbiological activity. And if the material is too high, it will also slow down the microbiological activity. As we know that microbiological activity will optimize at the pH value between 6.5 to 7.5. So, however, during the composting process, the lastly compost form will be in 7.0 pH value, which is in neutral. And lastly, ratio of carbon and nitrogen is also one of the factors of composting process, as we know that carbon as a source of energy for microorganisms to do their activities, and nitrogen is for them to synthesize the protein. And now I will proceed to my group member. Thank you.
Thank you, Jingmei. Then I will proceed to the advantages and disadvantages of decompositing. There are various advantages of manage the solid waste via the composite process. Firstly, it recycles the nutrient to soil. The decompositing material, when decomposite in the soil, it will become the nutrient for the plant. Then it is a sustainable waste management practice, as this will not involve any machinery, and it can be it is environmental friendly. Then it produces a useful end product. Then the end product can be used as the fertilizer for the gardening. As I mentioned just now, compositing is an environmental friendly process, as it is a natural occurrence process. It also produces combustible fuel for energy recovery. Besides, it is simple to operate and have low operating costs. However, it also has disadvantages. For the disadvantages, it is not suitable for all waste problems. That means not all solid waste is can be managed by using this method. Then it requires a free space for the compositing. Like in our case, a bin is required to the compositing process to occur. Besides, it also produces odor, noise, verminousals, and bioaerosols such as bacteria and fungi. It will also lead to the emission of volatile organic compounds that cause health hazard. Last but not least, it has the potential pathway from use on land be contaminated to enter the food chain. The further recommendation of this method is it can be solid waste generated can be separated at each generation point. That means we can separate the waste at household. Besides, it also can apply advanced science and technology to improve the process of compositing. We can involve the practice of avoidance. That means we avoid produce the solid waste, and encourage the practice of reduce, reuse, and recycling. Lastly, we can cooperate with others developed countries for the advanced technology they have to improve the compositing process. In the conclusion, we conclude that composting process is a natural process of recycling decomposed organic material into rich soil called as compost. It is an aerobic biological process which uses naturally occurring microorganisms to convert biodegradable organic matter into humus-like products. Composting is a good option of waste management operations, as it is cheap, environmental friendly, and well created. Composting can reduce the volume of waste to dispose to landfill and incineration, and it recover the useful organic matter to use as soil amendment. That's all from our group. Thank you.